Hello friends, happy Monday and welcome back. Today we are going to talk about ghost roots and how to fix them when they are severely grown out like this. So there are a couple different colors there, as you can see. I will go over that later, but first I want to kind of show you my application. So I am just going to take this really thin section and I am using Kevin Murphy Permanent Color in 6.6 with a little 5.6 and some red booster. Now I'm using 30 volume developer because that is the standard to get lift and gray coverage with Kevin Murphy color. It is not like lightener where it's going to be damaging, but it is going to lift that dark natural color that she has to the red that I want. And then after I get the root where I want it, I'm going to come in with my 1.0 and 10 volume, which is a deposit only. And I am just going to paint it on everything that I want dark. So you have to be really careful here and you have to be really conscious of where you want your black to go and make sure that you're making each section about the same exact size so that it matches up throughout the whole head. So as you can see, I'm kind of feathering up and really making sure that blends. I go sideways, I go up and down, and then sometimes I'll use my finger to blend the two together. But you can see I'm really feathering and doing my best to blend those colors together. I'm gonna use a little strip of foil just to separate it because I don't want the black to get on the red to get on the black, all that good stuff. But I'm taking these super small sections, bringing them down and painting. All right, now let's talk about why she has two different colors of red. I promise she did not leave last time like that because I color everything with a semi-permanent color before when she was done so that it would all match up. But when we first started doing her ghost roots, which as you can see, I really only do a mohawk panel. I don't have to do her entire head because we get that really great effect with just the mohawk panel and going back on her crown a little bit. So you don't have to do the entire head, and you can see I'm feathering up. But anyway, when we first started to do her ghost roots, we were using lightener. And so that gave us that really bright red light tone that you see on the bottom. Then as she started to wear it a few times, she was like, you know what, I think I want to make it a little darker. I don't want it so bright. And I figured I can just use permanent color instead of lightener. It's so much more gentle on the hair. It'll give her that deep red color and it's gonna last longer because when it fades, it's not gonna go to like orange blonde. It's just still going to be a deep red color. So the fade out helps a lot more also. Blending those together. But yeah, I am just going to repeat this through her entire head. And you have to be so conscious of your section size and how much you're painting because I decided I wanted to do about like 1.5 inches of the red and then just be very careful when you're putting that black on that they are around the same every time and that you're really saturating with that black color so that all of that light one underneath gets covered. Now, I know that ghost roots are not for everybody, but they are a trend and I love covering trends and I think this looks amazing on her. But you can see me just smoothing out that blend and then using my little foil strips to separate them. Now, because she has such dark hair and I'm only using permanent color to lift, it is important that just like a platinum retouch, she's coming back every 5 weeks or so because the hair cannot get too long or else we'll see banding in that color. So just like when you're doing a platinum retouch and if you have too long of a regrowth, you'll get that yellow banding. It's the very same thing with permanent color. If she had, let's say, like 1 inch of regrowth and I colored it with permanent color, because her natural hair is so dark, it would be maybe 1 or 2 levels lighter, about like a quarter to a half inch off the root. And then as it went down a little farther, it would be darker. So we would have 2 different colors of red, a little lighter at the root and a little darker as it went down, because we don't have the warmth of the scalp there to warm that color up. So even though I switched to permanent color from lightener, I still want to make sure she's coming back every 5 weeks because we want that red to be nice and light. We don't want to see any banding, and I don't want to have to go over it every time with semi-permanent color, because now that we are covering that old light red, I'm not going to have to do a semi-permanent overlay on her hair. It's just going to be done with the Kevin Murphy color. So that is awesome for us. It's no longer a 2-step process. And this will probably go for about 4 months or so before we have to touch up the ends again and add more black. But as you can see, I am just making my way through the head, painting on my red first, and then going through to feather my black, using my finger to make sure I don't have any harsh lines. And here is another little angle. You can really see those 2 different colors. I was so glad to get rid of that old lightener, honestly. It's been so long that I've had to do the double color afterwards with my semi-permanent red. I cannot talk today. I'm sorry, I'm not starting over. You guys will have to deal with it. But you can see how much better it's going to look now that I've gotten that light red out. I don't have to do the overlay afterwards. It's just going to be done after I get this on, and that's super exciting for us. And now I'm just painting my black on again. And you can see I am holding that section for dear life. Like, I am pulling tight on that bad boy. You want to really, really make sure that you're pulling that hair nice and tight as if you were doing a highlight. I like to pick it up a little, make sure that it's saturated all the way, because the last thing that I want is to see any of that light red like through her mid shaft. Oh my gosh, like nightmare fuel. So make sure your sections are all the same size, and you can really see how much time I'm spending on it. I left this whole piece unclipped so you can see how much time I spend on each little section, because it's very, very important. I know it seems like it might be easy, but this is a very detailed color where you want to make sure there are no harsh lines, everything's the same size, and I'm going through it over and over, using my finger again to blend. And now we have our perfect section. So we are almost to the front of the head, and I really only showed the mohawk panel. I also do a little bit in front of her face and underneath, just so that if she puts her hair up anywhere where there's a hairline, I have a little bit of a ghost root. But I didn't really show those. I'm just showing the top. I did the exact same thing everywhere else on the head, and just really making sure I am saturating and getting that color in. Almost to the end. Really keep those sections nice and clean. I like to lift, like I said, make sure that black is really in there, and paint it on. And we are at our final section of the video. Going to paint that on and get our final one done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and obviously if you're doing ghost roots for the first time, it's going to be super similar. You just aren't going to be adding the black to the ends. Just be very careful with your feathering, and I'm sure you're gonna do amazing. Please leave me a comment, like and subscribe. Let me know if there's something you'd like to see. And here is our beautiful after. Absolutely obsessed. She's back to her short little ghost roots, not her overgrown, some lightener, some color ghost roots. I'm so happy with the results, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. I will see you next Monday. Hope you have a great week.